What's up, CY? Nate here, and the message that you're about to watch was filmed at our Sunday service from just a couple days ago. That's right, we're doing Sunday mornings in person at 10 a.m. at our midweek office space, and so we would love for you to join us this upcoming Sunday as we continue to innovate and try new things. Well, I guess it's technically an old thing because we used to do Sunday mornings all the time before COVID, but that's all right. Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. at our midweek office, and I'm sorry, we had a couple technical difficulties. The microphone's going to cut in and out a couple times, but don't worry, you'll be able to hear the rest of the message. And we have some more information for you about what's happening for our midweek, Wednesday nights, home groups. All that information will be at the end of the message, so make sure you stick around. We love you guys. Let's jump to the message. There was a phrase that was told to me when I was your age. There was a phrase that was told to me as a high schooler, and it was this: show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. And this story is about friends and your future. This story is about friends and your future, and Moses and his friends, but we're going to see where we can find ourselves in this story. And this is a story about a good support team, a good support system, and really a support system that will help you win in life. And this is our second week in our Navigate series, as we've been looking in our. That is our third mini-series in the book of Exodus, and this is our last mini-series. This is season 3, the last season. This is the big shebang. And the whole point of Navigate is that God has a destination for us. God has a place that he wants to take us to, and it's not a physical place. It's a place of character. It's a place of dependency on him, and that's what we're trying to navigate. And we're going to look at the story of the Israelites to see how they navigated their own life and their story of following God and all these things. And so we are jumping in, and if I were to sum this message up into one phrase, and one key phrase, it would be this: godly community leads to battles won. Godly community leads to battles won. All right, so Exodus 17, verses 8 through 16. Exodus 17, verses 8 through 16. In the beginning, in the first 7 verses that we miss here, is this cool story of like the Israelites, and they're like thirsty, and they're complaining to Moses, and Moses goes to God and is like, hey, we need some water. What can we do? And he tells God tells Moses to go strike a rock, and water's going to gush from it. So he strikes a rock, water comes from it. It's a crazy miracle. And then we see 17:8, where it says, the Amalekites came and attacked the Israelites at Rephidim. So the scene is set. It's a battle. There's an enemy that comes, they attack, and Moses said to Joshua, verse 9, choose some of our men and go out to fight the Amalekites. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. Verse 10, so Joshua fought the Amalekites as Moses had ordered, and Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. Verse 11, as long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning, but whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. So when his hands were up, playing his song, the butterflies flew away, they started winning there in the battle, and then the moment his hands went down, they started losing in the battle. Okay, so hands up, he's winning, hands down, he's losing. And they stay there, and they stay there. Okay, I gotta stop. Too many songs about hands. Up, down, up, down. Verse 12, when Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone. Who's they? They took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. Pretty crazy. Verse 13, so Joshua overcame the army with the sword. Then the Lord said to Moses, write this on a scroll as something to be remembered, and make sure that Joshua hears it, because I will completely blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven. Verse 15, Moses built an altar and called it, the Lord is my banner. He said, because hands were lifted up against the throne of the Lord will be at war against the Amalekites from generation to generation. All right, that's our reading for today. And what I want us to focus in on is, a couple different things. But first, I want us to look at Moses. What do I see from Moses? Verse 11. Verse 11, it says, as long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning. The Israelites were winning. And I don't know if you know this, but like if your hands are up, it's almost like the international sign of surrender. Like, hey, hands up, hey, hands up, right, Lucas? Hands up, put your hands up. Hands up, like you're kind of surrendered. There's like, keep your hands where I can see them, so you don't make any swift movements. Right? Got our hands up. And we're in an international sign of surrender. And you see, when you follow Jesus, surrender is a winning posture. Surrender is a winning posture. It's a winning stance. When we are surrendered to God, it is a winning posture, a winning stance for you and for me for whatever battles come our way. And so I'm not saying you need to walk around with your hands up like I'm surrendered to God. No, this is for him it worked because they were in a battle, but for you and I, it is surrendering our lives, everything that we are, to Jesus. Matthew 16:24-26, Jesus said it like this. Jesus says to his disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? If you lose your life, if you give up your life, surrender your life to Jesus, that's when you really start living. That's what Jesus is saying. Surrender is a winning posture. It's a winning stance for every battle that we face. Why? Because we're giving up control, giving up everything to Jesus. We are in surrender to Jesus. Our thoughts, our actions, our minds, everything, our soul, everything that we are is in complete surrender to Jesus. But I want to spend the rest of our time looking at the they, it's said in the chapter, or the two guys, Aaron and Hur. Hur, H-U-R. Aaron and Hur. I want to see some things that we can find from their story, from their helping, from them standing alongside Moses. Because I feel like for me, when I was in high school, how do I know if I had the right friends, right? Like, I just kind of hung around the people that I was with. I hung around the people that played the same sport as me. I hung around the people that did the same things as me. So how do you and I know if we have the right friends, if we have the real friends, some real friends? Because I've found in my life that there's sometimes a seasonal friend they're like in it for a season, but then you have some real friends that you just stay in touch with forever. You have some real friends that no matter what goes on in life, they stick by you, they stand by you, they encourage you, right? Like some good friends. Does anyone here have some good friends? You have some good friends? So I'm preaching to the choir here. But just in case you're watching on the video and you don't have good friends, here are some things you can look for. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Hard to hear that through your masks, but that's okay. Let's read verse 11 and 12 one more time. Thank you, YouVersion, for loading in the middle of a message. As long as Moses held up his hands, the Israelites were winning, but whenever he lowered his hands, the Amalekites were winning. Verse 12, when Moses' hands grew tired, they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side, one on the other, so that his hands remained steady till sunset. Okay, what's three things that we see about real friends in this passage? This is what I see. Real friends stand by you when you're weak. Real friends stand by you when you're weak, right? We see Moses, his hands started to lower, and so the battle was starting to turn the wrong direction, right? They started losing. So what did they do? They stood by Moses. They brought a seat up for him to sit on. They stood by him. Real friends support you when you need help. Real friends support you when you need help. They pulled a rock chair. They pulled a rock chair and held up his hands. They literally supported and helped Moses in this time so that they could win the battle. Last thing I see is real friends see God's purpose in you. Real friends see God's purpose in you. Battle was won. Right? That was the whole purpose of Moses being up there, was to win the battle. They saw the purpose that God was with them. They saw the purpose that if Moses had his hands up, that we would be victorious. That it would not just be a win for Moses, it would be a win for their whole people. Notice how all of these things took action. All of these things took action for Moses and for his friends. They all took some sort of effort. They weren't just passive friends that just were like, they just kind of clung on to whatever was happening. No, they stepped in, they stepped up, and they helped win the battle. Some questions for you and for me. Do you have a friend that stands by you no matter what? Do you have a friend that stands by you no matter what? Through thick and thin, through the good times, through the bad times, through the ugly times. Do you have a friend who stands by you? Do you have a friend who supports you when you need help? Do you have a friend who supports you, is a real support? And do you have a friend who sees God's purpose in you? Do you have a friend who sees God's purpose in you? And you're like, well, I don't know my purpose. Your purpose in life is to follow God. Remember what you, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. That is your purpose, is to deny yourself, take up your cross, and follow Jesus. That's a friend you need in life. That's a friend who will help you be in godly community. And remember, godly community leads to battles won. But I want to take this and make this a little more personal. Are you a friend that stands by no matter what? Are you a friend who supports and helps? Are you a friend who points others to God's purpose? Are you that person? Do you stand with your friends? Do you support and help your friends? And do you see God's purpose in each one of your friends? Proverbs 27:17 says it like this: as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And that's why small groups are so important. That's why a godly community is so important, because it's an opportunity for you and I to be sharpened. It's an opportunity for you and I to become better, to become a more accurate reflection of who God is. It's cool to be back here on Sundays to worship, for me to not preach to a camera, even though I'm still looking at the camera occasionally, because there are people who will watch this later for small groups this week. But that's cool for us to gather like this, but it's so much more important for us to be in a small group. That's why on Tuesday nights, Kayla and I, we have a sitter for Ivy. Thanks, mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who watch Ivy so that we can be in a small group as well. Because godly community leads to battles won. I'm really into cooking. I think you all know that. And one of the big components of cooking is having a sharp knife. Because if you have a dull knife, that leads to dangerous things. You can cut yourself easier, or you can hurt yourself easier, because when you're cutting something and maybe it's a dull knife, so it slips, it doesn't cut right through it, and then boom, 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 and you get a nasty cut. Even if you were to cut yourself with a sharp knife, it's a nice, clean, it's a sharp knife, so it's easier. It's better. I'm serious. Where real community happens, where real church happens, will be in Wednesday nights at our home groups. That's why these are so important. That's why you need to take your schedule around work, your schedule around sports, your schedule around whatever, and try to get there week in and week out, because godly community leads to battles. One, you want to find a real friend, you got to go godly community. Be a friend who stands with others. Be a friend who supports others. Be a friend who sees God's purpose for you and for me. What sounds better to you? A friend who stands with you? A friend who sees God's purpose in you? A friend who supports you? Or a friend who leaves whenever things get tough or whenever things get awkward? A friend who doesn't help, is just all focused on them? And a friend who's distracted by every single thing? What kind of friend do you want? I want the first group. I want a friend who's going to stand with me, who's going to support me, who's going to see God's purpose in me and is going to call me to God's purpose, who's going to help sharpen me. I don't want a dull friend, because dull friends are dangerous. Dull friends are harmful. I want a sharp friend. I want, as iron sharpens iron, so does one person sharpen another. I want to be sharpened. I don't want to be left in the cabinet where all the dull knives are. I want to be on the knife block. I want to be a sharp knife. I want to be a useful knife, a useful tool for God and his kingdom. We're going to sing one more song together. Luke's going to come up, play a little bit behind me as I finish up here. But this: show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Show me your friends and I will show you your future. Surrender is a winning posture. When we are surrendered to God, that is a winning posture for you and for me. Godly community leads to battles won. Be a friend who stands with others, who supports and helps others. Be a friend who sees the God-given purpose and potential in others. Do you have friends like that? Are you the friend like that? Thank you for watching all the way to the end. We're so glad you joined us today. Godly community leads to battles won. That's it. And the way we're going to do godly community this month is through in-person, in-home small groups. Well, technically outside, but anyways, we're breaking up our small groups into individual homes, and we don't want you to miss it. So all you have to do is text the phrase @CY-HS to the number 81010, and we're going to send you a link to all the homes, broken up: 9th grade girls, 10th through 12th grade girls, 9th and 10th grade guys, and 11th and 12th grade boys. So we are so excited for Wednesday night home groups, 7 to 8:30 p.m. We do not want you to miss it. So don't forget to text that. You can follow us on our Instagram @community.yth. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you Sunday in person, Sunday service, 10 a.m. at the office. We love you guys.